That was not pretty in any shape or form against Pafos last night at Stamford Bridge in the Champions League. It's 3 points. But if we play like that against Napoli next week in the Champions League, away in Naples, we are in for a massive wake up call. We're going to cover all of the key things and a lot of key talking points in this video. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, all of that good stuff. But let's get straight into it. Now, Chelsea beat Pafos last night 1-0. It was not a convincing win. In fact, it was a really poor game, if we're being honest. It was a poor game from start to end. And I'll be honest, there isn't even much to talk about in the game. We had 21 shots, 7 on target, compared to 2 shots on target by Pafos. And we looked very stale, stagnant. It looked like we were the team, and I said this yesterday actually, that we were the underdogs. We looked like the underdogs in that game. Now, we are at home, Stamford Bridge, Chelsea, and we looked like a team that wasn't able to progress the ball from defence to attack without losing possession or wasting the chances that we were creating. And I'll be honest, Pafos, we know about low blocks. We know about low block teams and how hard it is to break them down. But with the team that we had out yesterday, we should have done better. We should have done better. Garnacho, always available on the left. Caicedo in the midfield as well. Enzo started in this game. We didn't think he was going to start. It was a game where we should have had enough on the pitch. And this is no disrespect to Pafos whatsoever. But in a game where you're meant to win, and win convincingly. Now I want to say this because a lot of people, there's a lot of big YouTube channels, Chelsea channels, are always negative, and I get it. And look, I am Blue Coat out. I want Blue Coat to change their structure. If they're not willing to change the structure, then they have to do something. And the only ultimate thing they're going to have to do eventually is find new potential buyers for the club. Now, I want that to happen. But at the same time, I also want to see good performances and very good performances by Chelsea week in, week out. So I want both things to happen. Do I want Chelsea to win games? Yes. Do I want Blue Coat to go? Yes. I want both things to happen, and both things can happen at the same time. But there's a lot of Chelsea negativity. Now, I'm not going to say that the Chelsea players listen to, the likes of some of the bigger YouTubers who've got, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, but they might do. Now, if they do, mentality kicks in. I would like to think these players would hopefully, they would watch some of these big YouTubers from Chelsea's fan channels, and that should kick them on. But it might not. It might have a negative effect on the team. Now, I'm not bringing that point up to say that the players are listening to everyone's fan channels and whatever else. But what I do think is sometimes you can't just be negative as a Chelsea fan. There's no point just being negative in every single video. Now, did I think that performance yesterday was brilliant? No, I don't. Did we get 3 points? And I said at the very start of yesterday's video that I did in the preview, we must beat Pafos. We have to beat them because Napoli is going to be a massive challenge next week. And I'll be honest, Liam Rosenior, first Champions League game at Stamford Bridge, first Champions League game of his managerial career. He didn't impress me. He didn't wow me. But there are some big YouTube channels that are waiting for Liam Rosenior's downfall already. He's only had 4 matches. This is his 4th match in charge. Brentford, Arsenal, Charlton, Pafos last night. So he's had 4 games. Now, I look at those 4 games, and I'm not expecting miracles. And I'm not saying every game is going to be a 3-0, 4-0. I did predict 3-0 in this game. But there are positives to take from this. As I said, the 3 points is the biggest positive we can take. The clean sheet is another positive. We finally got to see Esteval come on, and I thought Esteval, who nearly scored off the half volley before just coming on, he looked creatively like anything was going to happen, it was going to come through Esteval. And we also have to credit that we got the goal that we got. I mean, it took 70 odd minutes to get it, but we got the goal. So I don't want to constantly be a negative Chelsea fan. And I get that Chelsea fans want Blue Co out, they want change, and I'm with you guys. I want the same change. But last night was a difficult game. And Pafos made it as difficult. They didn't want to attack. They wanted to defend. They wanted to camp in their own half and make it difficult for us. And they nearly successfully did that. But one of the things that we have to do against Napoli is attack from the very, very start. And Liam Rosenior, your 4th game in charge, we need to start seeing something. Because there isn't much similar, there's not much change. It's very much the same as what Maresca was doing with this team. But we need to see something against Crystal Palace and then Napoli next week in the Champions League. Something has to change with this team. Tactically, whether that's formation-wise or the style of play. And yes, we are seeing subtle changes, like I said in the preview. You know, this goalkeeper's coming out. And by the way, how does Jurgensen end up injuring himself? Do you know how difficult it is as a goalkeeper? You've hardly done anything in a game. Was you cold? Did you walk down the stairs and get injured? I don't know. But Jurgensen came off injured at half-time. But we have to change something tactically against Crystal Palace. And I felt that Pafos was the game for Liam Rosenior to change things. Put out a very strong squad. Put out one of your strongest squads. Change things. And hopefully you get to see what you can tinker with. I thought we were going to be so much more attacking in that game yesterday, and we weren't. And that was a massive concern for me. But Liam Rosenior, for me, still needs a lot of time. He still needs a lot of time to correct some of the wrongs that have been done by previous managers or by this ownership. And he needs to try and get the best out of this squad, to try and give himself the best opportunity, not only to get into the League Cup final or the FA Cup final, but also to get into that Champions League spots in the Premier League. But more importantly, as it's a European video that we're doing, he has to get the best out of this team next week in Naples against Napoli. Because if we don't, that game is massive. And I don't, for one, want to see Chelsea play 2 playoff legs back-to-back each week to try and get into the latter stages of the Champions League. So there has to be something that over the next 2 weeks, or week, actually, not even 2 weeks, the next week, that Crystal Palace and the Napoli game, we have to see some changes from Liam Rosenior. And I'm going to use this word, bravery. Not the players. I'm talking about the head coach. He has to be brave and change things tactically and unleash whatever this tactical philosophy is of his. Because it's all well and good Liam Rosenior talks the talk. He talks a good game. He says a lot of good stuff. And I'm on board with it. But we need to see that results and that sort of productivity and output on that pitch with those 11 players. Because last night, thanks to Caicedo's header, we could have been walking off that pitch a lot in a totally different way. So I think there has to be changes made by this head coach for the next game. Crystal Palace, we need to see changes, wholesale changes. Esteval should be playing. He should be playing. There should be no reason why Esteval should not be in this game. That's my assessment of that. I want to touch on this before I wrap up. Cole Palmer, another injury now. It's apparently a minor injury, but it goes back to what I said yesterday. Give the boy the surgery that he needs. Give Cole Palmer the surgery that he needs. He can't play football. He looked absolutely done after Brentford. He looked finished after Brentford. Another knock. He misses the game against Pafos, where you'd like to think he would have been a key integral part of the game. Don't play him against Crystal Palace. Get the boy the surgery that he needs, because if he doesn't, I'm telling you from now, as Chelsea fans, I'm going to be back here in a couple of months and I'm going to be saying, I told you so. Because he does need surgery. But in a positive way, let's wrap it up. 3 points, Champions League. We're keeping the dream alive. We must beat Napoli next week. We have to beat them. But it all starts this weekend. Crystal Palace, we have to beat them. Because now we've got to take our eyes back onto the Premier League. We have to beat them. So make sure you're tuning in. We're going to have a preview of that video out tomorrow as well. Make sure you're tuned in. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and I'll be back soon with another video. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I'm out.